Growing up, man, I spent hours of my life stomping. I'm going to respect your intelligence and assume you already know what a video game enemy is, but have you ever wondered what it feels like to be said enemy? What would it feel like to be a Goomba with the ability to move a whopping 2 directions, sometimes not even that? No. Me too. I've always had a weird interest in playing the role of a bad guy in games, especially when it involves other players. Now, I'm not really big on PvP, but I think this is a bit of an exception. Maybe because I'm a big fan of asymmetrical games. One of the earliest times I can remember these thoughts popping into my head was when I was playing Crash Team Racing on the PS1, which is my favorite kart racer of all time. In that game, you can race against bosses during the story mode, and later on you can unlock them as playable characters. The boss characters fight dirty though, as they each have an infinite supply of a certain power-up. For example, Ripper Roo will constantly place TNT. Pinstripe will constantly throw bombs at you.
Wow, you saw that? The bomb actually curved and went towards me.
When I first unlocked them, I was disappointed that I did not get to have set pickups for free. I just wanted to be like them. Free, on God, no cap. But down from heavens came to me an idea. Cheat codes. After a 5-minute Google search, I had found what I was looking for. Infinite bombs. Of course, I knew what I had to do. I booted up the game again, inputted the cheat, picked Pinstripe, and finally got to play as him the way I always wanted to. Of course, it got boring after a few minutes. It's kinda hard to lose when you have infinite power-ups. Fast forward to 1987. I was a negative 13 years old kid when I discovered that modding exists. Games could be modified. You did not have to play by the rules the developers set out for you. Naturally, one of the first things I would look for would be mods that let you play as the bad guys, yet again. Most of the time, I did not find anything of the sorts. Very few people were interested in the same kind of stuff as me, and I was certainly too young to make the mods myself. Unless they're graphical mods, of course. Enter Super Mario War. One of the first games I quote-unquote modified to play as an enemy. It's a small yet amazing Mario fan game. Nintendo, please don't sue them! Where you can locally fight against a few friends or AIs using Mario characters, Mario items, etc. Kinda like Smash Bros, except nothing at all like Smash Bros. I recommend you check it out since it's very well made. The character sheet files were surprisingly easy to edit. All you had to do was copy-paste an image, replace the textures with your own, and bam, your character was ready to play. So naturally, I created a character out of a Koopa shell. See, the game already had you play as pretty much every Mario character under the sun, so every enemy was already in the game also. So the actual enemies in the game, besides the other players of course, were pickups. Koopa shells being one of them. I kinda just did this to annoy my friends, okay? That's all, really. Crypt of the Necrodancer. A rhythm-based roguelike, which you might be a bit familiar with if you watch my streams, or maybe if you're just a man of good taste. A masterpiece of game design with an amazing soundtrack to boot that I can't really show off right now because it gets copyright struck. Just trust me, okay? The whole game is played to the beat of said soundtrack, with both you and the enemies moving along to it. It's also one of those games that's incredibly fair, with 99% of the time each death being caused by you and your skill issues alone. And I'm not even kidding. Anyway, the game also has some pretty easily moddable graphics. Just like Super Mario War, you just need to change a few of the character sprites. Or well, that's how it was back in the day when I first played it during early access, but I think they added official modding since then. And actually, even online multiplayer. Anyway, I remember trying to change the graphics of my character with different enemy sprites, one by one. The big sprites did not work, so sadly I could not play as a dragon or an ogre. I was limited to crappy little enemies like skeletons, zombies, and dragons. They made it official! You cannot play as a dragon. What the f- I just getting what the- This is Chaunter. Haunter? How do you it's like a music pun, right? He's one of the many characters in Necrodancer, and his whole gimmick is that he possesses enemies and controls them the way they would control themselves. Kinda. For example, skeletons can only move every second beat, but that would be incredibly punishing, not to mention boring, so instead you have to charge yourself up after doing any action except walking, missing one single beat but still getting to move around properly. You can also control mini-bosses, and get to use the same abilities as them. For example, this dragon here can shoot flames both to the left and to the right of him. Wow, amazing. So can we. This dragon can freeze in a cone to the left and right of him. Boom. So can we. I think more games need to add characters like this. It would be quite the risk of rain. Did someone say risk of rain? I can hear you, you know? I know you responded no, you snarky little fucking laughing at me with your friends in a Discord call, screen sharing this video are... Risk of Rain is a roguelike game developed by Hopoo Games and currently owned by Gearbox, the grandfather of unfunny Borderlands Marvel humor. While Risk of Rain doesn't have playable enemies, it also kinda does. See, every enemy in the game is programmed as an actual playable character. That means with cheats or commands you could play as literally every enemy in the game, including each of the final bosses. You can even join the enemy's team if you want, because the game is split into 3 or 4 teams, so you can be a Lemurian and annoy your friends. In fact, there have been a few mods that played around with this concept to make the gameplay experience more varied. For example, there is, or was a mod, I have no clue, I mean every update breaks all mods, that lets you play as a drone once you die, so that you can still help your teammates a tiny bit. But on the flip side, there is also a mod that lets you play as an enemy once you died. You can even become elite, or a mini-boss. Sometimes even a boss. I think it was really janky actually. I remember it being really janky to the point where like you could spawn as a boss on the first stage, which was just really unfair, but still, it was fun. For the enemy player, not so much the player. There is a myriad of mods that let you play as the enemy from the character select screen straight up, despite how unbalanced that would be. In most cases, the enemies are just too large to even activate the teleporters, which is the main objective of the game. However, some of them are surprisingly playable. Take this Clay Templar for example. He's equipped with a machine gun pot that shoots tar bullets. Very epic bacon if you ask me, but when picked as a playable character he's as balanced as any other character really, despite only having 2 moves. In fact, he's so balanced that there have been multiple playable Templar mods since the game's early access stage. Pretty neat, huh? Look at this, I'm a turret. I can't even move. Do you know Spore? That amazingly mediocre yet still fun game where you can create a little creature, evolve it, and watch it form a tribe, then a civilization, then take over the whole galaxy? I do. It was one of my favorite childhood games, honestly. It was very much squandered potential looking back. A lot of the features that would have been amazing were cut because the developers just couldn't decide on whether the game should be more biologically accurate or more cutesy and child-friendly. Did you know we could have had underwater civilizations? All tomorrow's reference? What the f- Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I'm actually talking about are epic creatures. They're kinda the equivalent of a giant T-Rex from, you know, prehistoric times. The game would randomly pick a creature or two to spawn as an epic version of itself, which would make it incredibly large and threatening, with an unquenchable thirst for blood, usually yours. However, as a kid, I always wanted to play as an epic. It wasn't possible. The best you could do is upscale a creature manually in space stage and rain havoc on an enemy empire or make an epic in adventure mode, but you could never actually play as them. But modding saves the day yet again. Now, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't have footage of this because the mod is so old that I couldn't even find it anymore. But there was a mod I used as a kid that actually let you play as an epic in the creature stage, down to the abilities. It was overpowered as shit, honestly, and for some reason it was a bit buggy and it bled over from the creature stage to the other stages. For example, in space stage, you can deploy a little hologram of your dude to walk on the planet's surface, which is pretty pointless but kinda cute. But with that mod, my hologram made loud ass fucking stomping noises every time I walked, which peaked the audio to an insane level. Here's a recreation, except imagine the audio being louder because I don't want to jump scare you or make you pause your Minecraft session just to lower the audio. Now, imagine how I reacted when this happened to me as a kid. It went something like this. Oh my god. Speaking of Spore, I should probably make a video about Spore one day. I have a lot of memories with that game, and I think it would be neat. I should also make a video about TF2, I think. There was a whole section about me talking about versus Saxton Hale in this video, but I kinda cut it because it didn't really feel fitting for the video. Hey, it's time for the yearbook. This is a little section for all the people that bought this yearbook tier. I will draw a drawing of you and put it on the yearbook. You can also put your own quote. So far we have Danielle. I fought the floor and the floor won. Same here. I am very accident prone. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I don't do sponsors for your sake, so please, if you want to support me, you can always join the membership thing on YouTube. If you don't want to, that's also okay, I'm not gonna force you.